I'm going to read a quote from my book, 10 Paths to Freedom. It's a quote at the beginning of chapter 6 called Embodiment. There are two quotes, actually. One is from the teacher Shankara, and he says, "This body, which is made up of skin, flesh, blood, arteries, veins, fat, marrow, and bone, is full of waste matter and filth. It deserves our contempt." So that's one quote. The other quote is from Walt Whitman, which is, "I sing the body electric. The armies of those I love engirth me, and I engirth them. They will not let me go off till I go with them, respond to them, and discorrupt them, and charge them full with the charge of the soul." I want to talk about that because those are both, I would say, valid points of view when you're considering a spiritual perspective, a non-dual perspective. See, we're attached to the body. We're attached to a sense of attributing I to the body. The body comes and goes, so it's a form of suffering because everything that you think you are is lost, and when you cling to it, it's very painful. So a lot of Advaita Vedanta traditionally, and Shankara is the originator of Advaita Vedanta, the body exists, but we cling to it. We cling to it. We cling to the name and form. And he's trying to get us to realize the being of it, the I am of it, the truth of it. So part of that teaching is I am not the body. And we tend to think of the body as pretty pleasurable. So sex is pleasurable, food is pleasurable, it is. And yet, when we attach to or indulge in the pleasure of the body, we're attached to the pain of it as well. Because again, it's a polarity. So if we're attached to the pleasure, eventually pain's going to come around and we're going to suffer from that. It's like an addiction where we take a hit of cocaine or take an opiate or something like that and maybe feel some pleasure from that. And then it passes, and then we feel this depression or this lack because the pleasure is past, and there's this balancing in the nervous system where what goes up must come down. We cling to the peak, we're going to experience the trough, and it's going to be a rough ride. So those ups and downs of life are going to rock our boat, and we're going to have a hard time. So Shankara is saying, look, you're not that. Look at it. It's mortal. It's a bag of bones and dung. It's been described many times in the scriptures as a way to shock you and to get you to maybe not attach to it so much. Just like maybe that's not the source of your happiness. So it's kind of shocking. So the neti part, like not this, not that, part of it is I'm not the body. So I'm the awareness, the body is an object within awareness. It's not me. So we let go of it. We let it do what it does. Let it pass. The awareness that we are does not change. And we perhaps don't attach to the body so much. We're not driven by lust or by greed, perhaps, and we're happier as a result. So that makes sense. But what about Walt Whitman, the I sing the body electric? There's something he says in that I think is really important. He says, the armies of those I love. Let me pull that back up. He says, the armies of those I love engirth me, and I engirth them. They will not let me off till I go with them, respond to them, and discorrupt them, and charge them full with the charge of the soul. So what is this body electric? The way I experience it is, the first stage is I exist. That's what it seems. Then we inquire into it and realize that that's an illusion. Ego collapses and we realize the truth of who we are. And it's incredibly blissful, you might say. And then we realize, wait a second, If I just live on that mountaintop of no form, of the pure bliss of truth itself, just letting go of everything, I'm not going to stay embodied. So there's this notion of like, okay, I had this life where I was, in a sense, bundled together, held together by fear, by this nervous conceptual activity, this I am the body, I am the mind, I'm the emotions, and I got to hold it together. And that's who I am, even though it's passing and I'm scared and I'm pretending that everything's okay. That's typical. So we let that go. We realize the truth of our true nature. How do we live after that? What's my experience like? The realization is of that underlying substance that we're calling being. I'm calling it that. We could also call it pure consciousness. We have different words for it. The truth of who I am, the reality of who I am. And again, bodies exist, bodies don't exist. Still, being is, truth is. I am that. So it doesn't matter if there's existence or non-existence. It doesn't matter. It comprehends all of that. It is the substance of all of that. So the realization is there are people that want to receive this teaching. They're unhappy and suffering from ego. So it becomes a compassionate activity, is the idea. Compassion is defined as an awareness of suffering coupled with a willingness to relieve the suffering. The root cause of suffering is ego. It's that fearful bundling together of self that's an illusion and creates a scary life experience. There's a transmission that occurs. I would just call it love. The armies of those I love engirth me, and I engirth them. Now, what does the word engirth mean? I looked it up. It's an old word that's not used anymore. Whitman wrote in the 19th century, so it's been a while. But the modern word, and we still don't use it much, it's engird. And to engird would be like a barrel that's held together by a metal ring. It's held together. Or you could say a bucket that's held together with a strip of bamboo. Or a nervous mental habit of holding self together. It could be that. That's how we engird our experience and make sense of it. After the realization of no self, that self is this illusion that can come and go, but it's no more than the underlying substance, love is what holds us together. That's our reason for being. That's our reason for existing. And yes, it's just an appearance. If I talk about my own existence, I realize it's a fiction. It's not who I am. The description is not the same as that substance. The substance, the consciousness of it, the truth of who I am, is being, and it's manifesting as this particular form. And I'm calling it James or whatever. You know, my hair's brown or my eyes are blue, or I'm describing a self. Those are not who I am. Those are just, they're conventionally true. They're conventionally real. They're relatively real because if I'm going to reach out to people and discorrupt them and fill them full with the charge of the soul, I'm going to use the relative. I'm going to use the body. I'm going to use the mind. I'm going to use emotions. I'm going to use whatever it takes to transmit this underlying truth, being, or reality to people. And I feel that compassion makes us stronger. It's an awareness of the suffering and a willingness to relieve it. It holds us together. It makes us strong. The way it would if we were trying to rescue our children from a burning building. It holds us together, but it's not fear or nervousness. It's courage. It's love in action. It is powerful. And that's our reason for living after we realize the illusion of self, the illusion of the separateness of self. which we're calling ego, that disappears. It dies. So that's the body electric. So yes, you're not the body. It's full of dung and filth. Let it go. What are you letting go? You're letting go of a false identity, a false clinging to that which arises in a way that causes suffering. When you release that, you realize what it is that's actually arising, the substance of it. Rises, falls, I am. And that's your reason for living. The nature of the body is more like energy. He says the body electric. It's hard to convey that over a video, but there's a dimension of energy. In the East, it's called chi, and it's easy to become aware of that dimension by resting in the stillness. Eckhart Tolle talks about it. It's the relationship between form and formless. The form's an appearance, that's the horizontal dimension. The formless is that vertical dimension. Literally, in this device here, it's vertically generated. But what we experience in life is this timeline of objects relating to each other horizontally, the surface part. That's what you typically think of as life. But when we realize the depth of it, the substance of it, there's a mystery to that. I like the way he uses the word discorrupt. Discorrupt. What is it? What is corruption? It's something false that's gotten into the system. We have to let go of that. We have to investigate it. I'm not asking anyone to believe anything. If you study it, if you inquire into it, if you meditate on it, you'll start to realize its ultimate insubstantiality. You realize that what we call things are not what they are. What we call things is the surface. That's where the names and forms exist. And that's fine. That's not what they are. That's just the existence part. That's the part that stands out. It's really fun. This is actually a toy. I thought this might be a good tool to illustrate. And I was playing around with it to try to see if that would work on camera. It's hard to show you on camera, but you've probably seen it before, but the hand appears like that. Like, that's pretty wild. And if you do it and hold it in a certain place, that it stays like that. But then you see, so a hand is created, and then, it's gone. The name and form of our experience is temporary, just like that. And it's fun. I actually had fun thinking, okay, this is serious. I want to teach people something, so I'm going to use this thing. So I better, get serious and show you how. It's fun to play with. And sometimes in Eastern philosophies, the term Leela is used, meaning a play, like a divine play. What is life? What is all this crap? What's it for? It's play. Now, is that what it is? That's just what I'm calling it. Any name I use is not what it is. Remember? So what I'm calling it is just that surface part. But what is it? That's the substance of it. Before I can name it, before I can call it something and attach to it, that's just a thought. The truth of it is I am. All of it. There's not one part of this field here that is not what it is. And it doesn't matter what it appears as or where. But I was playing with it, and it's just kind of fun. This is just for fun, okay? So here's pre-Big Bang. This is nothing, right? No objects exist, and I'm going to tilt it very gradually up, stars, planets, beings, all the objects, creation, existence. Wow. Sounds like firecrackers. And then, cosmic dissolution. Oh no, what's happening? It's disappearing. It's child's play. There's nothing about what I just showed you that would be outside the realm of what I would call what is. If we're attached to the forms that appear, that exist, the rising and falling, it's a nightmare. Oh, it exists. Great. There it is. Oh no, it's going away. I'm scared now. I'm sad. We learn to relax and let it happen and realize that we're the awareness that doesn't judge, doesn't cling to the names. The names may arise. That's not what it is. That's just what we're calling it. And we are what it is. And that's freedom. That's happiness. That's being. He who clings to his life shall lose it, Jesus says. Don't cling to your life. Just let it be. It's like the Beatles, right? Let it be. And let it pass. Nothing's lost. It's just the name and form part that goes away. That's its nature. It's constantly doing that. That's the mind. We learn to observe it. It arises, it falls, it dissolves. Into what? Into being. The being is. It is now. It is already. It is the truth. So what's the awakened life like? Well, the Buddhists have a saying, first there's a mountain. That's most people's experience of things that exist seemingly independently. First there's a mountain, then there's no mountain. That's enlightenment. That's realization of truth itself. They would call that emptiness, because no name, no form, just pure being. Then it's a mountain again. It's fun. Why? Because we've realized the truth of it. We realize who we are, and we can embody the form and not be afraid. Nothing's lost. Nothing's gained. So samsara, nirvana. Existence, non-existence. It doesn't matter, because the fundamental truth of who we are is, whether the forms appear or not. So it's not the negation of our existence. It's not a denial. It's not something paranoid. It embraces, like Walt Whitman is saying about the body electric. I sing the body electric. It's alive. It's functional. It's happy. It's ecstatic even. That's the secret, is to embody the truth consciously of who we are and allow the forms to be. Realize that vertical dimension and just let the horizontal dimension play itself out. It isn't ultimately real. So we don't get caught up in it. We can experience it. Who's experiencing it? It's always pure consciousness. We realize that, and it's not a problem anymore. And don't get hung up on the term consciousness. Some people might say that ultimately we can't even call it consciousness, because that might be something we'll cling to as a term, the thought. It's a gateway. Become aware.